There are movie openings that pull you in, and then there's the opening of Scream. For me, it's the greatest opening to a film ever made. It's a bold statement, sure, but this scene redefined what a horror opening could be. It's sharp, it's shocking, it's meta before meta was a trend, and it still leaves me in awe every single time I watch it. If you've ever doubted the power of a scene's ability to reshape a genre, then this is probably the mic drop example. Let's waste no time here and just start with the obvious in Drew Barrymore. The casting choice was genius because in 1996 she was a star. She was on the poster, plastered all over the marketing. She was the face of Scream before everyone else, and then Wesley Earl Craven, in a move that was part Hitchcock homage and part calculated chaos, kills her within 12 minutes? Gone. Brutally, definitively gone. The type of gone you're hit with if you're decapitated or crushed with a TV. This was a statement that no one in the film was safe. If Drew Barrymore was killable before we met a single other character, then surely all bets were well and truly off. How the scene plays with us in the moment is pure brilliance. The opening call with Ghostface is playful at first, almost flirty.
So, you got a boyfriend?
Why, you want to ask me out on a date?
He asks for her favourite scary movie, and we laugh at the response, partly because of the referential nature of it, and partly for the reason that it kind of feels like the kind of conversation you'd have with friends on a Friday night when someone wants to talk about slasher films. The script by Kevin Williamson talks directly to the audience, breaking down horror cliches while indulging them equally. Then the playful banter suddenly turns threatening, and the viewer is trapped in that house right alongside poor Casey Becker. The escalation is masterful, and the popcorn on the stove is my personal favourite visual representation of that. At first it's calm, quietly building heat in the background, and as the tension spikes, the kernels explode. It's such a simple metaphor for what Craven's looking to do here, taking something familiar and comfortable and letting it boil over into sheer chaos. It's the ticking time bomb of Hitchcock, but translated into the kitchen of a suburban home. By the time the phone call shifts into a full-blown cat and mouse game, the popcorn bag has swollen to burst, and Casey is moments from her brutal fate. And then there's the violence. This scene is cruel. It's not stylized or distant, it's raw. It feels wrong in a way that mainstream horror hadn't felt for a while. By the mid-90s, slasher films had become pretty predictable, but the brutality of Casey's demise snaps us out of that complacency. The way Craven holds just long enough on those stab wounds, the panic in her raspy breaths, the futility of her parents being seconds too late, it's merciless, it's unforgettable. It was the film announcing that horror was back, and it wasn't playing nice. But what really makes it perfect is how it does all of that while being fun. That is admittedly a strange thing to say considering how grim it gets, but the sequence never forgets that it's a horror movie about horror movies. The twisted trivia game with Ghostface is a thesis statement for everything this franchise would go on to become. The question of who was the killer in Friday the 13th is a test for both Casey and the audience. Are we paying close enough attention when watching these films that we claim to love, enough so that we don't rush into an unfortunate wrong answer? And let's not overlook that direction either. Wes Craven paces this thing to perfection. The way it glides through the home, the way it lingers just long enough on the phone, the locked doors and the windows. It turns the safest place into a death trap for a teenage girl, and it's a masterclass in geography too. We know where Casey is at all times, and by the end of the scene, we have a solid foundation for the layout of the home's interior. That makes the intrusion of Ghostface feel like a violation of space we've already mapped out. Sound design is another unsung hero here. The ringing of the phone becomes this relentless, almost mockery signal. It interrupts moments of heightened silence, breaking any chance for Casey to calm down. Add in Marco Beltrami's score creeping in, and you've got a soundtrack that just adds the cherry on top. What seals it for me as the greatest opening to a film ever is the ending. Casey's death is equally as haunting as it is shocking. The final image of her hanging from that tree is grotesquely beautiful in the framing. Sure, it looks a little dated, but the idea that it imprints remains unharmed. The shot cements a tragedy. Most horror films build to that sort of devastation, but Scream leads with it, and that takes guts. Literally. And think about what this meant for the rest of the film, which we will be looking at on Friday. By the time the actual story kicks off, we've been placed on high alert. This movie has taken our expectations and thrown them in our face. The opening of Scream is a balancing act of horror, humour and commentary that no other film has quite managed to replicate. Plenty have tried, but none have landed like that night in 1996. To this day, when people ask me what the best opening to a movie is, I don't hesitate. I don't think. It's Drew Barrymore on the phone. It's always Drew Barrymore on the phone. It's the sound of the popcorn bursting into flames, it's the realisation that no one is safe, and it's the chilling scream that echoes into cinema history with that title card. It's beautiful, it's simple, it's the moment that horror got its edge back, and that's why, in my completely subjective view, Scream doesn't just have a great opening, it has the greatest.